Yeah. I'd like to start this event by extending my warm welcome to those of you who come abroad to Rijeka, who are visiting Rijeka for the first time and who are here with the event of the European Festival of the Short Story. There is one thing that I'd like to point out at the beginning of our conversation about America or Americas as places of happy and unhappy departures and return, especially those who came to Rijeka by bus. Those who came to Rijeka by bus, the first image that they have of Rijeka is a very big blackboard at the bus station, Žabice, showing Marilyn Monroe drinking Coca-Cola, yeah, and telling, Marilyn was the first one who kissed, Marilyn kissed the Coca-Cola too. Okay. So what is symbolic for me is not just the image of Marilyn and the image of America that she impersonates, but also that this very blackboard stands near the platform that says arrivals and departures. Marilyn in that photo is not the Marilyn that we used to imagine several years ago. When you look closer, it's a different Marilyn. It, to me, personates more Lady Gaga than Marilyn Monroe in her 50s, which shows that the images of America, images of Marilyn, and changes constantly, and we're here to kind of absorb these images and to identify ourselves with these images. So the images of America are all around us, and these images are very complex. This is what we are going to talk about today. America of disappointment, America of dream, various Americas as they feature in the writing of these wonderful authors, Daša Drndić and Harkaitz Cano. Evo sada bih dala riječ našem autoru, gostu, Harkaitzu Canu, i zamolila ga da se predstavi nekoliko riječi, da nam nekoliko naslova svojih knjiga kaže, a ja ću samo unaprijed reći da je on isto tako nagrađivan baskijski pisac i da je dobitnik jedna od prestižnih baskijskih i španjolskih nagrada, to je nagrada kritike za najbolja književna djela. Evo, Harkaitz, now, I guess you guess what I told the public insofar, the audience insofar, so the audience would like to hear you introducing yourself, telling us something about yourself, what brings you to Rijeka.
You can say that in English.
Okay.
Not in English.
Thank you for coming. I'm very happy to be here in such a good company. So I come from the Basque Country. You know, the Basque Country is by the border of the French, between French and France. We are a million. We are 2 million, but only 1 million can speak or understand Basque. So it's a split, linguistically split society, our society. It's kind of a schizophrenia over there. It's funny. Sometimes you feel like you live in exile in your own hometown. It will happen that you live in a block with let's say 24 neighbors, and nobody can really do work in Basque. It happens. It's not the most common thing, but it happens sometimes. And it's awkward when you meet your neighbors in the elevator, and they said to you, "Okay, I know you're a writer, but I can't really do work. So I expect that maybe someday, some lucky day, you will be translated into Spanish so I can read your work." And then time goes by and your work is translated, and you met again this very neighbor in the elevator, and he says to you, "Nothing, it's silent. The book has already been translated into Spanish, but it's still awkward, and you don't know if she or he has read it or didn't like it, so awkward anyway. I'm
Why
always
don't you
in
ask?
exile.
Have you read my book? Why don't
No,
you
no, no, I never ask. I'm so discreet, I will never dare to do that. Anyway, I don't know what you know really about Basque people. We used to be whale hunters, well known. So maybe the major achievement Basque ever did was circumnavigating Earth for the very first time. Juan Sebastián Elcano did it. Maybe because we are so a small country, we have this eagerness, or we are willing to go from there, somewhere else. I don't know, fishing, or searching for new territories, or whatever. And I'm a great lover of road movies. So the main problem, if you are a great lover of road movies in the Basque Country, is that you don't have road enough to make your own road movie. So to do so, you have to go away, get away, and that's maybe one of the subjects that we will we will talk later on. I write short stories, I write poetry, I write novels also. But to make a living, you know that you have to do anything, so I wrote soap opera too, for Basque, public Basque television. And one of my favorite works is writing lyrics from some fellow rock bands and friends and songwriters. I discovered that musicians, you know, I'm sure most of you are almost musicians, yes? You love music and you play some instrument, I'm sure. But musicians, professional musicians, they use a different part of the brain, and they have sometimes problems with the words. So I'm very happy with that, because they call me to ask lyrics, and that's part of my work, or my job that I love. Well, that's it for me.
So in such a large author, sa tako velikom opusu, autor se zasigurno dotiče i pitanja i problema Amerike, a isto tako, čuli smo i Daša, se u svojim knjigama dotiče pitanja Amerike. Međutim, riječ je o različitim Amerikama, o dvije različite Amerike. Jedna Amerika, Canova Amerika, je Amerika koja je Amerika nekakve alternativne povijesti, o kojoj će nam on ispričati malo kada nam bude pričao o svom romanu, koji je preveden na engleski, a zove se Blade of Grass. To je Amerika jedne fantazije, alegorije. Dočim je Dašina Amerika, možda jedna Amerika tvrde, ovako tvrdo, ne bismo rekli tvrdo kuhane, ali vrlo tvrde i realistične, hladne realnosti emigranata. Sad moje pitanje jednom i drugom autoru, neka nam malo ukratko kažu svoje iskustvo, oboje su bili u Americi, živjeli su u Americi sa različitim porivima, otišli u Ameriku i zanima me njihovo iskustvo Amerike. Jedno važno pitanje, mislim da je dosta važno pitanje svih nas koji smo bili u Americi ili planiramo otići u Ameriku, a to je ta percepcija, imagologija Amerike kod nas. Da li je percepcija Amerike prije nego što smo krenuli u Ameriku zadovoljava naše očekivanja u Americi, ili se ona mijenja, ili se mijenja kada se vratimo iz Amerike. So my question is, and we actually discussed this a little bit before our conversation starts, the images of America, does it alter perception of America before and after you go to America? What images of America do you carry back home with you? Okay. Mislim da bismo možda Daši dali nekako sebe.
Ovako, sad ćemo iz osobnog iskustva govoriti, me čujete? Ja sam imala mogućnost doživjeti obje percepcije Amerike, i sretnu i nesretnu. Bila sam na postdiplomskim studijama u Americi, i to u vrlo zgodno ili nezgodno vrijeme, kada su američki univerziteti bili u pobuni protiv odlazaka ljudi u Vijetnam, i to je bila jedna za mene odlična Amerika, a s druge strane bila sam zaštićena, bila sam na kampusu, imala sam stipendiju, tako da to nije to je jedna recimo bila umivena slika Amerike, a s druge strane je bila jedna pobunjena, mlada, revolucionarna Amerika. Tako da je to bila jedna za mene uzbudljiva i komotna Amerika u krajnjoj liniji. Raspadom Jugoslavije ja sam otišla u Kanadu, ali manje više to isto jedno što je zdravstveni sistem bolji u Kanadi nego što u Americi. I ja sam tu doživjela jednu emigrantsku Ameriku, koja je ponižavajuća, koja je nivelira svakoga, nema se vremena, pošto je priljev emigranata bio toliki da se nema vremena pojedinačno ti immigration officers baviti ljudima. Međutim, nije to, mislim da to nije specifikum Amerike ili Amerika, nego je to se događa kad god ste iskorijenjeni, kad ste derasine. To se meni dogodilo kad sam nakon 40 godina života u Beogradu došla u Rijeku. Isto, manje više ista poniženja sam doživljavala s obzirom na moj akcent koji je bio pravilan, ali je bio percipiran kao neprijateljski akcent i s obzirom na to da sam došla iz Beograda, isti je odnos prema meni bio kao, manje više kao i onoga emigranta koji je došao u Kanadu. Nisam mogla naći posao u Kanadi koji je odgovarao mojim kvalifikacijama, ovdje i također, tako imam ja mnogo ovih zanimljivih primjera, ali neka malo naš gost kaže.
Jedan podatak koji bi možda i našem gostu. Pitanje ćemo ostaviti za kraj. 10 minuta ostavit ćemo za... Ja sam sigurna da će biti vrlo uzbudljivih pitanja na kraju, ali najbolje je da uzbuđenje dođe ono pravo pred kraj. U Rijeci zanaza, kao što se kaže. Ima jedan podatak koji sam pronašla u Večernjem listu, a to je taj da uz posljednjih 3 godine iz Hrvatske emigriralo mladih ljudi, što u Ameriku, što u ostale zemlje, ali najviše u Ameriku, u iznosu od oko 32.000, što je zapravo broj stanovnika grada Vinkovca. Dakle, jedan cijeli grad je u 3 godine emigrirao u Ameriku. Na prilomu prošloga stoljeća, kad je Rijeka bila ovaj veliki centar luka koji sam spomenula, 4 milijuna ljudi iz Hrvatske, iz Austro-Ugarske monarhije, dakle iz centralne Europe, emigriralo je u Ameriku. Znači cijela Hrvatska, današnji broj stanovnika Hrvatske emigrirao je u Ameriku. Ono što mene zanima je li tako slično bilo i u Baski, odnosno u Španjolskoj, i da li doista vrijedi ono pravilo da je Amerika mjesto gdje su materijal od kojeg su sazdani naši snovi, da li svi putevi vode u Ameriku i da li doista vrijedi ono pravilo koje su svi oni koji su intervjuirani bili rekli da su emigrirali u Ameriku zbog toga, da je Amerika mjesto gdje ćeš sigurno i bezuvjetno naći posao.
Okay, to me, there was this referendum in Spain, year 1986, to decide if Spain wanted or not to join NATO. So, all political parties, major parties, were agreed to vote yes. They were pro-NATO. I was 11 years old in 1986. And this political fight against or pro-NATO was something that impressed me. Because I did not understand what was going on, but I still have some drawings with no NATO, with my drawings, and it was a kid with 11 years old. So we had this environment. By the way, the Basque Country was the only region in Spain that voted against joining NATO. Mm-hmm. For you to see what kind of society I was living in. So back then, we loved, of course, we loved American cinema, American TV. And our favorite movies were Rambo 1, Rambo 2, Rambo 3, Rocky 1, Rocky 2, Rocky 3, Karate Kid, Top Gun, all this. And our parents were a little bit afraid and scared, with reason, because they were feeling that we may be brainwashed in some way, which was true till some extent, I guess. But we lived that as we were playing. There wasn't something that we felt we were being brainwashed. There was another channel, different from reality. You know that? Even though those Cold War, Ronald Reagan era films were strongly political. I mean, it's funny that when, I don't know if you know this director, Ken Loach.
Mm-hmm.
Ken Loach, when he does a film, when he makes a film, he's considered a political director. His films are political. Why? Because he fights the hegemonic status. On the other hand, Conan, Rocky, Rambo weren't political films. Of course they were political films. They were strongly political films. The army, the Cold War, everything was there and directed in one direction. So that was present when I was a kid. And we loved this without knowing a word in English. So we started to study English with 11 or 12 years. When we were kids, we didn't understand anything. In fact, the very first word I learned in English was the end. Of course, the westerns, Saturday afternoon films. And the second one was to be continued. And we didn't know the sense of cliffhanger yet. But that was very annoying. To be continued tomorrow, next week. Come on. Don't do that to me, please. And that was the very first impression with, and it happened with music too. I mean, we grew up with Bruce Springsteen and Born in the USA and Dire Straits and later on Nick Cave, but later on. I mean, the left side of America, let's say left to say something, we discovered it much later. So that was before everything. When we were kids, we never dreamed about going to the States. New York was some place like Mars, you know. We'll never be there. It's impossible. It's another world. So that changed with the years, and I must confess that I feel privileged because my migration, you can't call it migration really, but to put it in the words of Robert Louis Stevenson, he would say, you are an amateur immigrant. Your migration has nothing to do with famine or food shortage or war. You're traveling just for pleasure. You live there for a year, okay, but you are an amateur immigrant. So that sense of privilege is what I felt when I visited New York and stayed there for a while, for a year. It was before 9/11. So my impression about the United States was good because I was 23 years old. I was all by my own, and that makes a difference. I had a scholarship to study and write, and I used to go to the concert. I didn't have to work in a Mexican restaurant 16 hours a day, like most of my friends did. So, to me it was a place to be free, a place to learn. I was looking forward to discover things, and as a matter of fact, I wrote 3 books in 9 months. So I couldn't match it, this record ever. It's never going to happen again. Like, wow, 3 books in 9 months. I can't believe now when I look back and I see that. So, but I don't know if it's because of New York or America or because I was 23 years old and I was strong enough to do that. Well, let's
yes,
continue.
but still people say that America changes you whether you want it or not. The question is whether we can change America, and people who go to America can change it, or does America change them? Postoji, nadovezala bih se na Harkaitza time što je zapravo Amerika ipak ostala u njegovim dijelima. Ostala je u tom jednom romanu koji je napisao nakon toga i preveden je 2010. i 11. sa španjolskog, baskijskog na španjolski, sa španjolskog na engleski, zove se Blade of Light, i to je jedna alegorija koja nam kazuje o tome što se događa kada neko putuje u Ameriku skriven u glavi statue slobode. On naime govori o Hitleru koji odlazi u Ameriku i što se događa kada Hitler osvaja Ameriku. Naime, riječ je o jednoj zanimljivoj priči i jednom zanimljivom problemu, zapravo jednoj zanimljivoj situaciji, jer je Amerika, za razliku od Europe, a to je dio tog imaginarija u Americi, zapravo ona nikada nije iskusila velike svjetske ratove, nije iskusila ratove 20. stoljeća, što je vrlo karakteristično, specifično i stvorilo jednu specifičnu sliku u Americi i nekakav stil života u Americi. Sad mene zanima nešto malo više, ako bi nam Harkaitz želio reći o svom romanu.
It's a book that has nothing to do with anything that I wrote before and after. And I don't even know where it came from. Actually, I wrote this book in Paris, not in New York, and it was some years later. And it was influenced by a film that you all know, The Great Dictator. And the fact that living in Paris, I realized when I lived in Paris that French, they didn't feel comfortable about their role in World War II. So they had this something guilty inside, and it popped out from time to time and on some museums and exhibitions, and all of a sudden, out of the blue, this story came to me. And was, what would happen if Hitler, after conquering Berlin and Europe, will go to conquer the rest of the world? Where will he go? To New York, of course, right? So I started to write this crazy story. It's a novel. It's a short novel, and it's not like there has been some books with this subject, like Philip Roth's The Plot Against America, maybe, or Philip K. Dick, Man in the Castle. In my case, there is not a political reading, or it's more like a farce. It's a carnival parade. It's more like a poem, I guess. And I had a very great time writing this book, but it's like almost a book that you find without searching for this story. The story came to me. I feel like someone else's novel. It's a funny feeling. That's the story of this book. That's every time I write a story about New York, I swear that it's gonna be the last one, because Basque readers are annoyed with me and New York. And is your next novel gonna be New York again?
How many do you have about?
Not that many, like 3, so 2.5. 2.5 on some short stories. But it comes to me, I don't know, it happened this way.
You're fascinated by New York.
I used to be, now I'm fascinated by Zagreb, by Rijeka, Croatia, and I love European literature, and I love literature from Czechoslovakia and Kafka, and I'm very a great fan of this kind of literature too. But my range of tastes is broad, let's say.